The low-budget movie that became immortal in 1958. Something strange crawled into movie theaters across America. It wasn't a giant robot. It wasn't aliens and flying saucers. It wasn't even a traditional monster with teeth or claws. It was something much simpler and somehow much more terrifying. It was just a shapeless, slow-moving, unstoppable mass. And yet, that was enough to haunt audiences for generations. The Blob started as a tiny independent film with a modest budget and unknown actors. No one expected it to become a cultural icon. No one expected it to launch the career of one of Hollywood's biggest future stars. And no one expected that this simple story about a growing alien organism would still be remembered more than 65 years later. But behind the scenes, the making of this film was filled with bizarre decisions, clever tricks, hidden meanings, and surprising accidents. Some scenes were more dangerous than they looked. Some moments were completely improvised. And some of the smartest ideas came from pure necessity. Today, we're diving deep into 20 hidden facts that reveal how this strange little movie became one of the most influential sci-fi horror films of all time. And trust me, some of these facts are just as weird as the creature itself. Fact number 1: Steve McQueen was paid almost nothing. Today, Steve McQueen is remembered as one of the coolest and most iconic actors in Hollywood history. But when he starred in The Blob, he wasn't famous at all. In fact, he was struggling to find steady acting work. McQueen was paid only about $2,500 for his role as Steve Andrews. Even worse, instead of negotiating a percentage of the film's profits, he took a flat payment. At the time, this seemed like a safe choice. After all, no one expected the movie to become a hit. But that decision ended up costing him millions of dollars in potential earnings. The film became extremely successful, especially in drive-in theaters. It earned far more than its budget and became a cult classic almost immediately. If McQueen had taken a profit percentage instead of a fixed payment, he could have made a fortune. Ironically, this low-budget sci-fi movie became one of the stepping stones that helped launch him into superstardom. Just 5 years later, he would star in major hits like The Great Escape and become known as the King of Cool. But in The Blob, he was just another unknown actor trying to survive in Hollywood. Fact number 2: Steve McQueen was actually too old for his role. In the film, Steve Andrews is supposed to be a teenager. He hangs out with friends, sneaks around at night, and isn't taken seriously by adults. But here's the truth. Steve McQueen was 27 years old when he played the role. Yes, he was nearly 30 pretending to be a teenager. This wasn't uncommon in the 1950s. Hollywood often cast older actors as teenagers because they were more experienced and easier to work with. Younger actors sometimes lacked discipline or acting skills. Still, if you watch closely, you can notice McQueen looks older than a typical high school student. His confident posture and mature face give him away. But surprisingly, audiences didn't mind. His performance was believable enough, and his natural charisma made the character likable. In fact, his maturity actually helped the film. He played Steve as calm, brave, and determined, someone willing to stand up when adults refused to listen. This helped make him the perfect hero for the story. Fact number 3: The Blob was made from silicone and rubber. The monster itself wasn't created using advanced special effects. Remember, this was 1958. There were no computers, no CGI, and no digital animation. Instead, the Blob was made using simple materials like silicone rubber and dyed slime. The filmmakers physically moved the Blob across miniature sets to create the illusion that it was alive. Sometimes they tilted the sets so gravity would naturally pull the Blob in the right direction. Other times they filmed the Blob moving and then played the footage in reverse to make it look like it was crawling forward on its own. It sounds simple, but it worked incredibly well. The Blob's smooth, slow movement made it feel unnatural and unstoppable. It didn't rush. It didn't panic. It just kept coming. That made it even scarier. Fact number 4: The director had never made a horror film before. The movie was directed by Irvin S. Yeworth Jr., and surprisingly, he had never directed a horror movie before. In fact, he had mostly worked on religious and educational films. Yes, the man who created one of the most famous movie monsters had previously made Christian training films. This unusual background actually influenced his style. He focused more on realism and emotional reactions rather than flashy effects. He wanted audiences to feel like this could really happen. And because he didn't follow traditional horror rules, the film ended up feeling fresh and different. Sometimes not knowing the rules helps you create something unique. Fact number 5: The film was shot in a real small town. The movie wasn't filmed on expensive Hollywood sets. Instead, it was shot in a real town called Phoenixville. This gave the film an authentic small-town feel. The streets, theater, and buildings were all real locations. Local residents even appeared as extras in some scenes. This realism made the story more believable. Audiences felt like this wasn't just a movie, it was something that could happen in their own town. The famous theater scene was filmed at the real Colonial Theater, which still exists today. And every year fans gather there to celebrate the movie. Fact number 6: the Blob was controlled using simple tricks. There were no remote controls or robots controlling the Blob. Instead, crew members physically pushed, pulled, and poured the material. Sometimes they used glass plates and filmed from underneath. Other times they tilted entire platforms to make the Blob move naturally. It was all done using gravity and creativity. This hands-on approach gave the Blob realistic movement that still holds up today. Fact number 7: the famous theme song became a hit. The film's theme song, simply called The Blob, was written by Burt Bacharach, who would later become one of the most famous composers in music history. At the time, he was just starting his career. The song was catchy, fun, and completely different from typical horror music. Instead of being scary, it was upbeat and playful. Ironically, this made the movie even more memorable. The song became a hit and helped promote the film. Fact number 8: the movie was originally independent. The film was produced independently by Jack H. Harris. Major studios didn't believe in the project. They thought audiences wouldn't take a shapeless blob seriously. But Harris believed in the idea. After the film was completed, it was picked up for distribution and became a major success. This proved that independent films could compete with Hollywood. Fact number 9: the Blob represented Cold War fears. Many historians believe the Blob symbolized Cold War fears. It was an unstoppable force from outside Earth. It grew stronger as it consumed everything, and no one could reason with it. This reflected fears of nuclear war and unknown enemies. The Blob wasn't just a monster. It was a metaphor. Fact number 10: the creature never had a face. The filmmakers made a smart decision. They never gave the Blob eyes, a mouth, or any facial features. This made it scarier. Audiences couldn't predict its emotions. It was completely alien. This made it feel more real. Fact number 11: the film was extremely profitable. The movie had a budget of about $110,000, but it earned millions. This made it one of the most profitable sci-fi films of its time. It proved low-budget films could succeed. Fact number 12: real fire was used. The freezing scene used real fire extinguishers. Actors were genuinely cold. This made their reactions authentic. Fact number 13: the ending was meant to be temporary. The Blob wasn't destroyed. It was frozen and dropped in the Arctic. This meant it could return, and it did in the sequel. Fact number 14: some scenes were improvised. Actors improvised certain reactions. This made scenes feel more real. Fact number 15: the Blob changed horror forever. It proved monsters didn't need faces. They just needed presence. Fact number 16: the film was marketed brilliantly. Posters created mystery and curiosity. This attracted audiences. Fact number 17: it influenced future films. Many later movies were inspired by it. Its concept became legendary. Fact number 18: the theater scene became iconic. The panic scene remains famous. It influenced many directors. Fact number 19: it became a cult classic. Over time, its popularity grew. New generations discovered it. Fact number 20: the Blob still lives today. The film remains influential. Its legacy continues. What started as a small independent film became something much bigger. It launched careers. It inspired filmmakers. And it created one of the most unforgettable monsters in movie history. The Blob didn't need teeth. It didn't need claws. It just needed to exist. And even today it still does. Because true horror doesn't disappear. It waits, frozen, until the right moment to return.